We now come to the sixth chapter that is titled Midnight Plotting. Now, in order to burgle Madhav's house, Mathur Ghosh engages two robbers, but he gives them one condition that they can keep the loot, but they must find and return the contentious will, for which they would be paid a very good amount of money. The robbers then contact Rajmohan, who agrees to join them and hand over the will to them, but he must be paid in cash for his share in the loot and also separately for the will. So he enters into a kind of a contract with the robbers. Matangini, by chance, overhears the midnight conversation between her husband and the two robbers. Now she is in a fix, in a dilemma. She is torn between her loyalty to her husband and love for her sister and Madhav. She decides to brave the hazards of the dark jungle that night and go across to their house and warn them of the impending danger. So here we learn of the midnight plot, how Mathur Ghosh has plotted against Madhav Ghosh, and how Matangini, in spite of the dangers that might befall her, she decides to go and inform Madhav and Hemangini about the robbery, the burglary that is going to take place. So Matangini's courage, her love for her sister and brother-in-law, that is evident in this chapter. Next is chapter 7, which is titled Love Can Conquer Fear. Here, on her way to Madhav's house, Matangini is spotted by the robbers in the dark, but fortunately she manages to hide herself behind some bushes. Thinking that they have encountered an evil spirit which is haunting the dark jungle, the robbers leave, and Matangini reaches her sister's house safely. She wakes up the servant Koruna and asks her to go and inform her sister of her arrival. So at the dead of night, Matangini travels through the jungle. She manages to escape the robbers and reaches Madhav's house. Chapter 8, Forewarned and Forearmed. Matangini then informs her sister and Madhav that she has come there to warn them of the impending dacoity in their house and asks them to safeguard the uncle's will. Madhav collects his men and the dacoity is averted. As he returns to thank Matangini for the favor, their dormant love surfaces. They confess that they have been in love all along, but since it is extramarital love, they cannot unite. So here in this chapter we learn about Madhav and Matangini, that they had been lovers since childhood. But since Madhav got married to Hemangini, of course, it is illegal. So here we get some information about the two characters. In chapter 9, it is titled We Meet to Part. Now before they part, Matangini extracts a promise from Madhav not to reveal to anyone that she was there that night to forewarn him of the dacoity. In return, all that she wants is that he should keep her sister happy at all times. When Hemangini requests her to stay with them, she refuses. Since she cannot return to her husband, who is certain to come to know about her role in the aborted dacoity, she must return to her father's house. So here, after helping Madhav and Hemangini to avoid the dacoity, Matangini decides to go to her father's house, because now it is impossible for her to go to her husband's place since her husband would be extremely angry with her, and he would surely come to know about her part, her role in preventing of that dacoity. In chapter 10, which is titled The Return, Matongini is seen to make her way back home. She is thinking about the interview with Madhav. She is escorted by Koruna, the maidservant. She opens the door of her apartment to see a fuming Rajmohan who is waiting for her. He has been secretly following her from Madhav's house. Matongini confesses his love for Madhav but denies anything immoral in it. The two have been silent lovers since childhood. Now, Rajmohan starts to abuse her in the foulest language for stealing into the house of her paramour at night to warn him of the impending danger. Rajmohan then flashes his knife and is about to kill her, but when his two accomplices, the two robbers, the robber chief and Fiku, his companion, they suddenly barge into the house through the window, and thus this prevents Rajmohan from murdering his wife Matongini at that moment. And here, of course, we see how Matongini really falls into trouble. She returns home, but she now has to save herself from her husband, who is bent on killing her, as she has thwarted the attempt at robbery.